So if you can come inbound to the brand and say, and do a little bit of sleuthing, do a little bit of research and say, hey, I saw that you were running this campaign last January. Let's say we're sitting in September or something, right? Hey, I saw that you were running this campaign last January. Are you going to be running that campaign again this year? I would love to help you support that in the following ways. So your job is to go out there and surmise, make an inference of what is that? It actually seemed like is important to them. And what are they allocating budgets for? And then let me go out and show how I can support them. And so this is a huge mistake, is it's not about you. It's not about you at all. It's about how you can support them to accomplish their problems.
Media kits. Do you have to have one?
However, I believe that the exercise of putting together a media kit is actually very helpful. So it forces you to think like, who am I? What is my value proposition? What is the composition of my audience? How am I serving them? Because those are the questions that the brand, they want to know. They want to know, like, if you can tell the story, if you can have a narrative behind why working with you versus another creator is so powerful. And one of the reasons, Sean, is that when a brand comes inbound to you and you'd be like, here's my media kit, pick an option, right? That would be as if you went to the doctor and before they asked you anything about the symptoms that you were having, they said, here's your prescription for Prozac. And you said, I didn't tell you what my problems are. This is how brands feel when you give them your media kit with your rate card. How do you know whether they wouldn't have paid you $50K or $100K to be your 12-month long ambassador for their brand because you're the perfect fit? You don't know until you have a conversation.
That's a strong tactic right there. And I kind of want to open up a can of worms. Curious your perspective on this idea of creator, brand, audience, values alignment. But what are your thoughts on like pros and cons of, is it good to have values in the creator career woven into your content? How would you coach somebody who like doesn't want to force it, but wonders if their content would be more powerful? And if you're optimizing for being brand friendly, is it better to be more quiet? There's a lot of different angles. So, about what you believe and what doors it might close, but also what doors it might open. So what are your thoughts on this idea of just kind of values and how a brand maybe aligns with your overall creator brand that you're building and what you talk about, what you're outspoken about?
Getting spicy here on the pod. Love it. All right. So let me answer this with a story. When I ran an agency, one of the kind of checklist items that we had to do when we were recruiting or looking for creators to partner with on particular campaigns was we had to do an audit of their social presence for certain brands to make sure that they were not saying crazy stuff on the internet, because every brand has this, need to mitigate risk, right? How dare you partner with this creator who said this crazy, hyperbolic thing. And the brand gets dragged through the mud, guilt by association, right? And so whether it's right or wrong that brands are doing this type of evaluation on you got to know it's happening. Okay. It's a line that you need to strike, especially if partnerships is a non-trivial part of your revenue as a creator. It's absolutely something you have to make that determination for yourself.
If you had to pick one between small and large brands preferring to lean more neutral or actually preferring to align with a creator that has a stance, most of the time, do brands prefer just neutral?
95% of the time neutral. I think.
So 95%. So while of course we might see examples, and sometimes these places they can have huge influence. I think about like Daily Wire, and I think about all the Daily Wire brand deals are almost like extreme conservative brands that are like doubling down on wanting to be on the movement of free speech, Constitution, America first. You get the whole thing. And that's obviously a kind of a very extreme conservative movement. So, but what you're saying is if you were optimizing, and the way I would coach people too, is it would be foolish to ignore this, but it'd also be potentially, quenching of your actual self to not have other frames of measurement. So it's like, it could be a couple things.
100%.
What am I willing to do? And so like a lot of things are not black and white when making a decision. There's like maybe 10 questions you ask and you kind of score them. So I guess I'm just curious is like, is there some cases though where, and maybe I'm not trying to talk about partying nor being like full tilt conspiracy theorist or socially radical in your ideology. But is there ever a case though where brands would say, I would lean towards, you call it family friendly. If you're like nuclear family, you're probably called somewhat conservative these days. Because it's an extreme, like even just to have, so like, geez, I can't believe you're married and like building a family. Like, it's just crazy. No matter what your beliefs or religion, but saying that, is there ever power in it? Like, do you ever like brands?
100%. I mean, they're the brands that are like comfortable treading that line and saying like, no, we are going to go and partner with this creator who is being very loud about these social issues or these things or whatever. There's a lot of tremendous positive affinity that can come from that. But they also know that they're probably burning bridges with maybe the other side. I don't know what the other side is in this instance, but like, that like if it is a kind of a two-sidesism type conversation here, then they've made that determination. They've planted their flag in the sand as a brand and say, this is, the values that we have, and we're going to go and work with those types of people. And so I think that you're absolutely right, but most brands don't have the bravery to do that is my experience. They just don't, they want to play it safe, especially the larger public traded companies.